What's going on, everybody? Zane here, back with another video. For this one, we're going to go over question number 4, which is median of two sorted arrays. This is a hard question on Leetcode, and it will be using binary search. Now, the reason I was able to get to binary search immediately is because we're looking for two specific keywords or phrases. In this case, our task is, given two sorted arrays, return the median of the two sorted arrays. So right off the bat, the fact that we're being told sorted arrays, that tells me that's most likely binary search. And then it's further confirmed by the last statement here, where our runtime complexity needs to be O of log of m plus n, or log of n time. So logarithmic runtime is what we need. So the log runtime plus the sorted array, those two together tell us this is definitely a binary search. So what are we going to do first? Well, how do we find a median of an array? Well, we'll just take the middle value, right? So we need to first establish how we're going to take two arrays and turn them into one. So before I even touch this function here, I'm going to create a new function. And this new function is going to return some array, int array, and it's going to be our merged array. So I'm going to call this merge sort, and it's going to take in two int arrays, array1, yikes, and array2. So this function is going to take in two arrays and it's going to return a single array. Now what I want to do first is I'm going to create another array inside of the function, and this is going to be our merged array. And this is going to be a new int array. And what do you think the size is going to be? Well, if we need to find the median of the two arrays, we're essentially putting two arrays together, meaning the size of our merged array is just going to be the size of array1 plus the size of array2. So that's going to be our merged array size. Now, for me personally, I think of this as we now have three separate arrays that we're accounting for in this particular function. So right off the bat, I'm going to create three placeholder values, int I equals 0, j equals 0, and k equals 0. Each of these is going to correspond to that particular array's index. So if I'm making a change to array1, I'll use I. If I'm making a change to array2, I'll use j, merged array, k. So now that we're set with our placeholders, we now need to do the actual sorting. When it comes to sorting using a logarithmic time complexity, and when considering we have two values and placeholders, we're going to use a while loop because we want it to continuously do some transaction or some execution until some point is reached. So what we're going to do is we're going to say while I is less than, and I is corresponding to array1.length, and j is less than array2.length. So while we're still in bounds of these arrays, we're now going to check what are the two values that we're at in our iteration. So the value that we're at for array1 will just be array1 at I, and then the other side would be array2 at j, because I is for array1 and j is for array2. Anyway, so let me just take this off. So now we're going to say if the value of the array1, the value at this iteration of array1, if that value is less than the iteration of the value of the array2 at j's iteration, then that means that the value at I is less than j, or array2, meaning this is our smaller value. So now what we could do is we'll take this smaller value and we'll put it at the first or kth index of their merged array. So what I mean by that is we'll say that merged array at k is going to equal array1 at I. So all we're doing is we're checking which value is smaller, the value at array1 or the value at array2 at the ith/jth iteration. If this is the case, then we'll just put that value at the merged array at kth position. So that's why we're using 3 separate placeholders, so that we don't ever get mixed up. Because if we keep using I, it's just going to constantly change the value, and that's not what we want. So merged array at k is going to equal array 1 at I. And since we're going to be doing this as a while loop, we can just add a plus so that we can eventually bounce out of our while loop. Now, otherwise, that means that the array2 value is correct. So I'll just take this, or actually I'm not going to copy, that's bad practice. We'll say merged array at k++ again is going to equal, this time, the second array at j, and just increment that. Now that we've accounted for all those values, we just need to do a little sweep to make sure that we've accounted for all indexes, because here we might be going through these values, but then it's possible that we've jumped out of this while loop without actually going through all of the values. So we'll just do a simple while I is less than array1.length, do the same thing that we did above, and then while j is less than array2.length, we'll again do the same thing above. So here, this is our array1 part. So we'll just copy this. I'm not going to copy. Merged array at k++ is going to equal array1 at I++. And then conversely, we're just going to say here, merged array at k++ is going to equal array2 at j++. Now we're finally done with our merge sort, so we could just return our merged array. Great. So now our function is done to merge sort into one array given 2 arrays. So I'll minimize this. Next, we now need to find the median. So first off, now that we have a function to create one int array, we'll just say int array merged array is going to equal the merge sort of nums1 and nums2. So that's our merged array. I'm also going to create a value double called median, and let's do a length of the merged array. Now, the reason let's actually go one by one. We created this merged array because we need to first have one array to find the median of. Now that we have that one array, we can now assign some value to the median value, which is what we're going to return, because that's the whole point. We need to return a median, and it has to be in double format or data type. And I just have this as the length. So thinking about the median, we can get the median by getting the middle number, right? But now, if the value or the length of the array is an even number, that means there's technically no middle. So what we'd want to do in that case is we'll take the 2 values in the middle, add them up, and then divide by 2. So we're basically getting the average of the medians. So now that we have the length of the array, we can say something like this. If the length divided by or modded by 2 is equal to 0, that means that this is even. So we're going to want to do something here. Otherwise, we'll do something else. And then lastly, we'll return the median. So here, we're going to do the even first. So let's do the odd first. The odd is the simpler one, because all we would need to do is median is just going to be the merged array at the middle number. And the middle number is just going to be len divided by 2. Now, on the other hand, if it's even, now median is technically going to be the middle number again, which is whatever len divided by 2 is, plus the middle number again, but this time we're going to do len divided by 2 minus 1 to get the left side, and then take all of that and divide that by 2. And that'll be our median. And that's it. So let's run this, make sure it's good. This was accepted. Okay, so I'm actually glad this occurred because, as you can see, I tried this a few times. The issue here is if you take a look at the actual submission, oops. If you go back to the submission, the way I was able to figure this one out without any syntax or some sort of runtime error was because I looked at the output and I saw it returned 2, but the expected was 2.5. So right off the bat, that kind of gives you a sign that, hey, if that's the case, it's most likely something with floating digits or some sort of conversion or casting issue. So in Java, it looks like that if you were to add and then divide, we'll get a specific number, but this might actually be giving us an integer. So all we need to do is cast this to a double, because we do need to return it as a double, as you can see over here. So we'll cast this to a double, cast this to a double, oops, and we can submit that now. And that's it. Anyways, guys, if you guys have any questions, comments, feedback, or if I didn't make anything clear, please let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, hit that like and subscribe button, show me some love, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.